So welcome everyone. Let us know where you're joining from today. Especially let us know if you're also here at the SDR Wealth Conference in Nashville. Be interesting to hear if anyone's joining from the event also. Always interesting to hear where folks are calling in from. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to get started now, even though we still have a few people rolling in. So welcome to today's town hall. As always, as you've probably already seen, we are live streaming and we are recording this event. So if you do get disconnected at any point, you can go across to our YouTube page and watch there. If you have any audio issues or anything like that, just go ahead to our YouTube page. As always, we're going to start off with a few company and product updates. Then we move into a Q&A section where you, the audience, can ask us questions. So feel free to use the Q&A functionality at the bottom of your screen to type out any questions you have. We have Kevin and Eileen in the chat helping out there to answer any of those questions. And at the end, we'll be able to ask people to come on stage if they'd like to raise their hand to ask a question live. And just before we kind of get into some of those company updates, just want to kind of give a couple of updates on where we've been at this week. Quite a lot of the team has been traveling. So most of the engineering team has been in Amsterdam at the start of this week for the Laracon EU conference. So really that is a developer conference, and that's something that we've attended because we really want to kind of learn, best practice from other folks in the industry and, exchange ideas. But also we're looking to hire, more top class engineers. So it's always fantastic to kind of go and meet the community and be on the lookout for more potential recruits to join the team down the line as well. So yeah, our engineering team has been busy the first couple of days at the conference. So you might have not seen as many releases in the first few days of this week as usual, but they'll be back at work from today. I think actually they're all traveling back home today. So yeah. And then another conference that we've been at, and myself, Andrew, and Alyssa are still at, is the Nashville STR Wealth Conference. So this has been a fantastic conference for us, not just for us to obviously meet, potential prospective customers, but also to connect with some of our existing hosts. And we've been receiving lots of fantastic feedback from existing hosts on what they like about the product, but also some great ideas of what we could develop next. It's really fantastic to meet some of our hosts in person rather than just over Zoom. So if you are actually at the conference, please stop by to the booth, say hello. It'd be great to come see you too. And I think Andrew, later on in this presentation, is going to kind of share some updates then. Some of the conversations we've had with hosts around some potential feature updates that we're thinking about off the back of those conversations too. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to Pierre, I believe, for some direct updates.
Hello everyone, and unfortunately I didn't make to any of the events because no one invited me. No, I really regret. I wish I would have been in Nashville at this point. So today is actually a very special day. First of all, it's the 69th edition of this channel. We started quite some time ago, but also it happens to be on direct booking day, which is a bit of an industry initiative to promote booking directly from the folks of Boostly and the likes. And so we actually have a record month on January, and that's why you're hearing me taking a bit of credit from the fantastic direct team, is that during the month of January alone, Hospitable has processed $2.4 million worth of direct booking. And just so you can get that number into perspective, you can see the growth chart, what it looks like over the past few months, Miles. If you can get over to the next slide. And you can see that for January alone, actually, our volume has been multiplied by more than 2. The chart that you see here goes only up to 1.6 million. That is because we're talking about direct premium. So that's where most of the traffic is currently going. You also have about the same growth, actually suspiciously the same growth, 2.3 times number for direct basic. Where customers are choosing to be their merchant of record here for direct premium. They have not to deal with chargeback, cost of refunds, or insurance, or gas rating. Everything is completely bundled and included. And there is a very clear reason why that's happening, that most bookings for holiday vacations are really happening in Q1. So the fantastic news for everyone that has not yet configured the direct booking website is that you can do so super easily right now. Don't wait on the too long at the station because your competitors are probably taking a direct booking at that very point in time. You can secure bookings through Hospitable without having any other risk involved. You can see also the breakdown, what's happening in terms of revenue. So the Light green is really the new reservations that are booked during a single month. You also see the dark green at the top. That's actually for expansion, which is basically alteration, extension of the stay, or paying more towards the same reservation. And then you see the cancellation at the bottom, which is that red part with the yellow for contractions, basically reducing number of nights and so reducing the amount that's due. Some interesting insight here is that the cancellation rate for direct premium, it's about the same for direct basic as well. Not very much reason for difference, except just purely volume, is about 5%. So really happy about that because we expected when we started into direct bookings quite some time ago, that the average what you would expect to basically around 10%. So we are seeing better retention, better bookings than we are expecting. And so obviously that's going to continue. Yeah, Andrew has plenty of things in the pipeline to keep making those direct bookings more performant for everyone. I will join you back later talking about Vrbo, but for now, Andrew, go ahead, share you the updates from the direct team.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, just a couple notes. Just being at this conference, it's time well spent for our team. I know we're not maybe doing our day-to-day job of building features and improving the product, but man, it's so great and so I think energy giving for us to talk to customers, especially at this STR Wealth event in Nashville, which is a lot of property owners and self managers. So that's that's our ideal customer profile, and we're getting to say hi to a lot of people and getting amazing ideas. I mean, honestly, I was taking notes during so many customer conversations. Someone came up to me with the idea of having a different rolling availability window for direct than you have for your OTAs. And so what you can do is if you've got people that kind of stay with you on a seasonal basis, you can set a 9-month rolling availability window on your OTAs and a 12-month window on direct. And then you can say to them, hey, I'm going to give you 3 months. You're exclusive to rebook with me before I open it up for everybody else in the OTAs. And I thought that was just brilliant. And if I wasn't here, we open ourselves up to a lot of feedback on town halls, but something about being face to face, we kind of get to vibe a bit better, and we come up with some great ideas together. So that was brilliant. We're going to work on getting that done. We had a lot of people come out and thank us for doing town halls, which is great. I think we love them as being on the team. I know you guys love them as customers, and we actually had a customer come up to us and say they were talking with one of our competitors. They mentioned they were using Hospitable, and they went kind of back and forth trying to see why are they using Hospitable, and finally ended up saying, man, Hospitable just has the most loyal customers. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the feedback you guys give us, and it's just so fun to be here and doing that. And yeah, just lots of great ideas that we can take back from this conference. Yeah, back to what we're working on the direct side. Yeah, not in a lot of updates in the last 2 weeks, given that we were traveling and whatnot. We made a lot of improvements on quotes, got a lot of good feedback as well. So now that you guys are working with that, giving us a lot of good feedback on what to do with quotes. We did have a bug that just got fixed right before this town hall. Discounts weren't working. So if you're using those and you had that experience, that should be working now. I'm going to test that right after this, but that should be fixed now. We've been spending more time on the new site builders. So if you're on previous town halls, we've been telling you kind of the reason why we haven't been able to make faster progress with our sites is we kind of had a bit of a lock-in with a vendor that just made it really difficult for us to make even little improvements to those templates. So what we've been doing in the background is replacing that vendor and making it so we own everything about how we do sites. And you're not going to see a huge update when we launch these. What you're going to be able to notice, though, is that we will now be able to move very quickly in improving these sites. So we're super excited to really have just an open roadmap and an open runway to make those some of the best sites in the industry and really compete on those. Right now, they're just, they get the job done, but they're really not bringing as much value as we want. So we're excited about that. Percentage-based promo codes. If you've been on any town hall this year, we've been hounded about this and we keep pushing back. And I will stand by that it was complicated, but I did have some focus time on the plane over from Italy to Nashville to work on this. So we got it knocked out, got the design done, solved all the complexities, and I put those tickets in the queue for us to get done. So I was hoping to get it done before this, but it's going to be soon after. So we'll get percentage-based promo codes done in the next couple of weeks at the most, and you'll be able to make use of those. And again, thank you for hounding me on that. You were right. We need to get those done. Yeah, following up on Pierre's charts that he shared there, like that non-linear jump in transactions, we really think is due to Google's performance. That performance has been off the charts, and we want to share that with you. So also got the designs done on what you're going to see for metrics. So on the channel page, you're going to see your impressions that your properties are doing on Google, the number of click-throughs you're getting, and the number of conversions. Right now, you don't know how you're doing on Google. You can't tell if a direct booking is just someone coming to your site a repeat guest, or someone that came to you through Google. You don't have any visibility on that. So we're going to get that fixed. And yeah, we also saw a lot of properties that had been pending in Google just cleared out. 950 properties that were recently ingested into Google but had an issue with some of their custom URLs. Those just got through as of today when I checked. So really feeling good about performance on Google. And then, yeah, another note that we've got a couple new support team people in the queue. We know with that volume more than doubling month over month with direct, we do have more support volume on direct. And so we hired another couple people. We're going to have expanded hours and deeper coverage to make sure that we keep getting to your direct support issues in time. Next slide. And yeah, otherwise, I'm not going to talk too much on things that are slightly less defined, but yeah, we know about multiple payments. We're working on those now. We know about improving taxes for direct basic, where you name your own taxes. You need to be able to tell us how to make those midterm taxes, so we remove them when appropriate. Working on tax filing remittance still. That's a big project, ongoing effort. Doing GVR brands. So if you want to publish not under hospitable.com, but you've got a brand of your own, we're going to be doing that as part of a wider brand functionality within Hospitable. And then the other side of kind of payment installments, multiple payments, is the recurring payments. So people doing midterm bookings, you want to have payments every 30 days for someone that's paying you rent. Those are all the pipeline for direct. And that's all of your time I will take for now.
Okay, and I think that's back at me for talk about an exciting subject about Vrbo. Is it not, Miles? Yes. So it's still in flight. That's basically what I can tell you. We wish we'd have another answer. So if you are staying in the loop with recent development about our Vrbo integration, so we've been announcing 2 weeks ago on the previous channel that we'll be meeting, and that means Andrew, director of product, and our sales manager, to actually be meeting with a senior connectivity leadership. So that's typically the stakeholders on Vrbo side. They met, they talked, there were discussions that were quite fruitful, leading to another meeting, this time more internal on Vrbo side, to basically assign a program manager to be working with us on the rollout of an official integration and seeing basically if we should be passing those things, which I expect. I'm very confident that basically 113,000 listings represents basically about 5% of Vrbo's inventory, should be helping in our getting our application to be moving forward. Now, since then, there were a few delays, paid time off, that basically make it so that we don't have an actual answer just yet. We don't have the name of the person that we'll be working with, but my outlook is until we just want to have the next meeting and then the next meeting, and then basically be able to start working on that Vrbo official integration. Now, on the unofficial front, I won't be able to talk too much about it. That's basically linked to that very item. We are seeing great stability in the overwhelming number of connections that we have with Vrbo. That's not to dismiss or invalidate the fact that some customers have indeed issues, and we're looking at them on a day-to-day basis. Today, there was, just a bit earlier, there was an outage related with that was resolved within, I think, a few minutes to sort it out. Now we basically are dedicating also engineering resources to evaluate an integration with an official integration with Vrbo. That's a very big scope for an integration, and it involves payment processing, it involves tax compliance. So that's not exactly the same work as what we did with Booking.com or with Airbnb in that regard. And actually, there was a question from Simon in the chat that hoping that Hospitable can sync up with Agoda. We're gonna try and do something a bit bold. That basically, since we're gonna do the work on one integration, we're gonna try and do the same thing for another integration as well. We're gonna try and put Vrbo official and Agoda within about the same timeline. So Agoda is one of the leading APAC OTA, so online travel agency, if you have not heard that acronym before. That's also focused on short-term rental. And so we would like to line them up all together as we're going to do the engineering and the product work for those relatively high scope, big scope integrations. So if you are experiencing today issues with your Vrbo integration, please do make sure to escalate that over to our support team so they can escalate that matter over to our engineering team. Now they were traveling, they are back at their desk tonight in Europe, and so we'll be able to look at them in the coming days. There are some friction on that, but yeah, I can't elaborate more at this point in time for the sake of the conversations that are happening on the Vrbo official front. And I think on that note, I can leave over to Alyssa. I can transition over to Alyssa. There's plenty of updates about your favorite feature.
Is it Alyssa or is it me? I think I'm going with parent-child.
Sorry.
Okay, that's
my
okay.
bad. No, Emily, of course. We reordered the deck a little bit earlier.
Yep.
So yeah, a bit later. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, everybody. Thanks, Pierre. All right, quick update on parent-child. Exactly 1 week ago, we shipped this and it's now available to all hosts. Throughout the course of January, we had this in private pilot, beta, and then shipped to all hosts. So we moved pretty quickly after taking some time to develop it and make sure it was really stable. So you can now configure parent-child relationships between your Hospitable properties. This is something that's supported natively within Hospitable and pushed to all channels. So many of our hosts before would kind of do like a linked calendar in Airbnb and then use availability to help make sure that that pushes across to all channels. But there were delays associated with that, and it wasn't really intended to work like that. But with this native functionality, it will push to all channels. So we're excited about this. We've seen about 300 hosts configure parent-child relationships, and we're excited. So yeah, take a look if you do have a scenario where you'd like to use that. We support 2 different types of scenarios. One is like you have a duplex or a triplex where you want to rent out the whole entire unit, and then you also rent out the individual units separately. Or we support another scenario where you have like a really big house and you might want to like list smaller portions of that house to help you optimize bookings in slow seasons or on weekdays or something like that. And the behavior between those is slightly different. And you'll see that clearly communicated as you go to configure those relationships. So check that out. And thank you guys for the awesome feedback throughout private pilot and beta. It's been really valuable. And we've been able to ship some pretty quick fixes based on you guys communicating great stuff to us. So thank you for that. Moving on, we've recently shipped a new prompt for the Suggest with AI feature. This was in beta for a while. So about a third of our hosts are beta hosts and have been benefiting from this for some time now, but it's now been shipped to all of our hosts. So what changed? Because a lot of this is kind of happening behind the scenes and isn't super obvious all the time. The prompt now has a lot more context about the property itself. We've implemented character limits. We heard a lot of feedback that the AI suggested prompts were just too verbose and it would kind of carry on and on. So we've implemented character limits. So the suggestions are a lot shorter and more succinct and to the point. And it also now knows about configured answers to questions if you have that set up in Hospitable. So that's really great as well. And as a result, we've seen over 50% of drafted messages sent without any edit. And those that have been edited are a lot more like minor edits. We actually have a view from our side that we can see on the back end where we can see what host changed. And we can see now as we kind of scroll through that the changes are a lot smaller than they used to be before. So if you haven't used this feature in the past, check it out. It has changed, it is better, and we're going to continue making improvements to that as well. So anytime we talk about AI, people say, well, what's next with AI? I think putting it in the inbox was kind of like the most obvious first step, but there's a lot of other things we can do with this to help make your lives easier and gift you some more time back. So the next thing that's up is an improve message feature. So right now we have suggest a reply with AI, and that's like you've typed nothing. It looks at the context of the conversation and makes a suggestion. But next we'll have an improve message feature where you type something and you can improve it. So we've heard a lot of really great feedback from hosts who say that like this is going to help them when you might be a little bit frustrated and maybe are being a little short in an answer, and they can hit improve and AI will take over from there to clean it up a bit and make it a little bit more appropriate for your guest or whatever it may be. So that's next up. And then later we're going to be able to do some really cool stuff, giving you guest profile summaries within the inbox. So we have all this information about guests, right? We know what they've written in their reviews, and we're going to be pulling that in and giving you a summary about that guest so that when they book a stay with you, you can actually see what they like based on reviews they've submitted in the past. We might be able to say like, Sam is always submitting really positive reviews about cleanliness. So you know that like if your place is clean, you're sure to make him happy. Or we might see that like he submitted a lot of negative reviews about coffee machines. He really likes coffee. Well, cool. Maybe you can provide him an extra nice bag of coffee or something like that. So we're excited to be able to give you more information about each guest who books if we have access to that information, so that you can personalize their stay with you. And last but definitely not least, this has been a big request. We are soon going to allow you to reply to guest reviews. Not only reply to the reviews, but reply to them from within the inbox where you're already having the context of the guest. So right now we have the write a review feature where those reviews, can be automated, but we have no way from within Hospitable to actually reply to the review that the guest writes about you and your stay. So now we'll show the review in the inbox conversation and allow you to reply to that or even generate a reply with AI. So that's something that's coming up soon. Also, all of this leveraging AI to save you some more time. Next, a little update on guest verification. We shared a little bit about this in our last town hall and let you know that we're currently researching this. So we're still in that process. I've had a gajillion calls with many of our hosts. So thank you for everybody who signed up for those calls and given a little bit more context. It's been really, really helpful. In our last town hall, we found that 55% of you said that you would verify guests on all platforms, no matter what. Even though Airbnb already does their verification, you would do it too. And so that was really interesting. And we were honestly happily surprised by that response. We didn't think it would be so big. And for the most part, everybody would do ID verification. And then it started kind of trickling off once you got into different types of verification, like sex offender checks, criminal background checks, credit checks, all that stuff. And most hosts, we heard, would use it as either evidence to cancel a reservation that felt risky or to kind of provide additional information if they do ever need to, submit a claim for damage protection or something like that. So we're continuing research here. We're having another call with our vendor next week to talk more. And yeah, if you have any other context to share, feel free to throw some stories in the chat to help us in our research. And we're excited to see what this feature might look like for you guys. Next, okay. So this is a feature that our platform team has been working on. And it's something that, it's a feature that was shipped to vendors, not something that hosts can access, but it's going to benefit our hosts. And this is how. Right now we have the smart lock code short code within our messaging rules. So if you have the short code in your messaging rules, your smart lock codes that are supported through Hospitable will get populated here and sent to your guest. Well, we've decided to make this short code enrichable, which means that approved vendors can also access this. So if you're using an outside smart lock code provider, they can also send codes that get populated through this. So we're prioritizing our own smart locks. If you have a property that's matched with a smart lock that's built and maintained by Hospitable, we'll prioritize that. But if you're using another smart lock vendor, they'll be able to access this as well. And so we're excited to kind of open the doors for you guys and make it so that you can switch between providers really easily without a ton of action being required from you. So we have 2 vendors who are currently building to this right now, Jervis Systems and Brafa, and many more who have expressed interest and we're kind of waiting for us to release this before they started their integration builds. So if you're using a different smart lock services provider, let us know at feedback.hospitable.com and I'll reach out to them and let them know that this feature is available for them so that they can build integrations and you can make use of them. And speaking of smart locks, I think we'll pass off to Alyssa next with a little bit more fun smart lock update. Alyssa.
Hello, everyone. Excuse my voice. The conference is kind of taking it out on me. So yes, this is the big news with smart locks. We are in private pilot with a device dashboard. This is a terrible little screenshot. I will give more information with a lovely video walkthrough kind of thing like Emily did with Parent Child later. But what you can expect to see right now, what you can see in there is what we'll have for all of your reservations. Every code that we create, you will see in there. You'll see the status of that code. If it was used by a guest, that way you know that they got in successfully. And even on your devices, we'll show the battery percentage and if it's connected via Wi-Fi, all of that. So you get all of the data that you need about your devices and your reservations, and we'll have other actions in there as well. So, being able to create a code, edit codes, lock and unlock with a single click. So then your team, you don't have to switch in between all of your apps. You can just kind of do it in one spot. And I will say to speak to this, the reason it is called a device dashboard and not a smart lock dashboard is because we are intending on putting in new types of smart home devices. So next up for us, once this is done, we'll be looking at thermostats. I know everybody wants thermostats. So please go to our feature page, our feedback.hospitable.com, vote on the thermostats that you want. The ones that we have the potential to support are in there now. If there are other ones that you'd like, please add them. But this is super helpful for me to know what to prioritize. We get you what you need. And the final note for this, because we are in private pilot, if anybody in here would like to join that private pilot, send your or pop your email in the chat just to this to us panelists, and nobody else can see it. And I will add you to that private pilot. But we are going to be moving quickly with this, as you can see with our release plan. I'm hoping to get this out by the beginning of March. But moving right on. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Alyssa. So now we are going to move into the Q&A portion. So if you are interested in coming on stage to ask us your questions, you can go down to the reaction button at the bottom of your screen and click raise your hand, and then we can invite you on stage. And just like that, we have a couple of people raising their hands. Thank you very much, folks. And first off, I'm going to invite Chinedu on stage. Hello.
Hello there.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome.
How can we help you?
I have two questions, if that's okay.
Let's start with one.
First, okay. Question is, how can I do the notification rules, let my cleaners know when the next person will check in and how many guests there will be? Is that possible?
So currently, I don't think that's actually still possible. This is a popular request that I've been hearing for years, but we need basically new type of shortcodes to tell you about a reservation to form for the next. There are many other ways to communicate that information. Have you thought about sharing the calendar to your clinic team directly so that they can access the calendar on their own?
Did not think about that. And did you talk about sharing the calendar from Hospitable or directly from the OTA?
No, directly from Hospitable. So what you can do is invite your clinic team as a secondary user. So you invite them to join your account, and you can give them a permission to access the calendar. Now you also have option to hide the financials, hide certain elements of the reservations as well. So you can still maintain some privacy. Keep the important matters out of their site. So you can share that calendar, and I think that's something that we are seeing is a rather productive way of dealing with those issues, dealing with those communication with cleaners, and you can back it up, of course, always with some communication by email or text message to your cleaning team. And you can also use our good friends at Turno, where we also offer, if you're integrated with Turno through Hospitable, you also don't pay for your Turno subscription, and so you get access to a best-in-class cleaning management product. We have no problem recommending them at all. They are great friends in the industry. Andrew, you wanted to bring something up?
Yeah. So Todd, I won't give his last name, I didn't have permission, but Todd stopped by our booth and he showed me how he's using iCals for his cleaning inspectors. So the people that do checkups on how his cleaners are doing, his pest control and his maintenance crew, they all have his iCals, and he basically tells them, you schedule your own work when I don't have guests in the property. And so they have access to the iCals to know when they can come by and not disturb anyone, which I thought was pretty cool use of those iCals and pretty good training for your maintenance crews.
It's a good culture too, if I may say, especially as you scale, should be doing good. Yeah, I see in the chat we have plenty of great recommendations for Toronto to be dealing with community management.
Cool. Janadu, does that answer your question there?
Yeah, definitely does. I'm gonna explore the adding them to the calendar so they can just see it that way.
Be
Awesome.
nice. Did you have a second question? Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, my second question was, I actually had it in the chat. I just wanted a bit more clarity. So if I connect my PriceLabs to my Hospitable, should I make Hospitable my lead listing?
I think I replied to you in the
Yeah.
Q&A. It's kind of a different concept, right? So when you connect Hospitable to PriceLabs, that's a connection at the property level. So PriceLabs is going to push a price change to your property. We're going to apply any markups you have on Hospitable and then send it to all of your channels. Your job then, regardless of which one is your lead listing, is to make price changes in PriceLabs. Because if you go into your lead listing and then change the price there, that'll get overridden as soon as PriceLabs pushes the next change. When you say you're going to use dynamic pricing, that's now your source of truth is the dynamic pricing. Update pricing there, and then your lead listing doesn't really apply in this scenario.
Understood. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much for
Thank you very
questions.
much. Great. So now moving on, we have Nate welcoming you on stage. Hello, Nate.
Hello. Quick question. So I recently had a bunch of like pre-approval required like inquiries from Airbnb. I see I can pre-approve the people right from Hospitable. How do I there doesn't seem to be any like decline functionality in Hospitable. Like I had to go to Airbnb to do that. Is that possible?
That's a good feedback. I think we can definitely hear that and look into it as we're working on the inbox, especially with more AI features. I think that's going to be one opportunity to do that. I would just want to check first if it's actually a feature that is supported on their Airbnb API, for example. So the resources that Airbnb makes available to us. I'm pretty sure that there is probably a way to decline. I'm surprised to hear that we will not be asking for a possibility for declining, but yeah, we can look into that.
Yeah, I definitely have the
inbox.
pre-approval one.
Yeah,
but there's
yeah, no, I
nothing
know
there.
that. Okay.
And then my second question, I know I've asked this before. What does the priority look like for updating your mobile app?
Oh, that's a very good question. Oh my. Andrew, you want
First
to
of
get
all,
this one?
we did just push a very nice update. So I think the
Did you
last town
finally
hall,
fix
maybe, or
the
maybe we missed it.
login stuff?
Yeah, no, we had big updates on the login stuff.
Months
You
ago.
shouldn't be getting logged out that often.
Nice.
We also made a big improvement to the inbox text entry field. So like super heavy use feature, replying to messages to a guest. Made a really nice improvement to the UI there. And the other thing we did is we recruited another front-end engineer. So we need more capacity, and we do have big plans. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit, and there's a lot of great improvements we can make overall. We just need some capacity, and so yeah, we're looking forward to having now an expanded front-end team, and we can make more improvements there.
Awesome. That was one of my most requested. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Nate. So now moving on, we have Andrew. Inviting you on stage, Andrew. Hello.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes. How are you guys?
Fantastic. How can we help you?
So this direct booking related. I had someone very recently who inquired about one of my properties through Vrbo, requesting a discount because he saw a cheaper property. Well, my property's better, and he had already blocked our calendar for 2 months. Now he's asking for a better rate. I typically don't deal with people like that because I'd rather just not deal with them anyway. But you know, I thought about it. It was a good booking because it was 7 days or more. I forget how many days it was, and you know, I like getting those weekdays booked up. So when I looked at my calendar, my rates first of all had come down. My dynamic pricing had come down because we were now 2 months closer to the booking, and my new rate was pretty darn close to the rate he was quoting he'd get on this other property. And when I looked at my direct booking, with a very slight discount, I could have got him where he wanted to be because he wouldn't be paying VRBO fees. So that's him not paying VRBO over $500 or $800, wherever it was a big piece. It wasn't really coming out of my pocket of getting him to where he wanted to be. So I did need to discount it slightly. And it's the first time I had an opportunity to send a quote through direct booking because that's a newer feature. So I sent him a quote and I put in, I calculated, my numbers, cleaning and everything, and come up with a number. And when I sent it through Hospitable as a quote, before I sent it, it asked me to confirm. So you want to send this quote for the amount of, 3,000, whatever it is, whatever the amount was. And I said yes. But after I said yes and sent the quote that was sent actually added a 10% discount for being 7 days or more, which is how my pricing is set. But it added the discount after I confirmed a higher number, which created a little bit of confusion and problems, as you can imagine. So it seems to me it shouldn't work like that. It seems to me either I did something wrong, which I don't believe I did because I was paying attention because I'd never sent a quote before. Yeah. I don't think discounts should be added after that lump sum number, regardless.
No. Yeah. No, I'll take a look at that, Andrew. If we miss something on the length of stay discount getting applied there, then you're absolutely right. That should not be the way that works. So sorry that happened.
No big deal. Guy's a cheapskate. Yeah. He didn't accept it anyway. And I have high profile properties. I really don't like to deal with people like that, so I don't care. But another quick question, Andrew. I've been curious about this.
Yep.
When someone goes in for a direct booking, like we just had, in the last day or two, they, requested to book and it says accept, but you can't accept when you accept and they haven't finished their screening. Hospital tells you we can't. But my question is, do I have to wait till their screening is done and then go accept it again? Or if I pressed accept and Hospitable notifies me, all right, they haven't completed screening yet, so we can't accept. When they finally complete screening, will it automatically accept it, or do I need to keep going back in?
So we want you to actually have the information. So before they've completed it, we don't want you to pre-approve because you haven't actually seen the data yet, right? Because they haven't completed the guest verification yet. So we don't give you a pre-approve function.
Direct booking. I don't know why she had to complete it again because she already booked direct through us once before. But whatever. So go ahead. Yeah. I'm listening.
Yeah. So to that recent point you just made, we're looking to change that. Right now, the guest verification is for a reservation, not for a guest. We don't really have a concept of a returning guest yet in direct. We're going to fix that so they can basically get verified as a guest. I agree. That's the point of friction that should be avoided. But then on the lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Where were we?
Do I need to go back in and accept? Do I need to go back and do? Yeah.
You do. So just pay attention. We're gonna send you a notification as soon as it can be approved. So that means the guest verification process was done. And if there's any manual review, our team has done the manual review. At that point, you get an email from us saying, hey, this reservation is ready for your action. You can deny it beforehand. So if you don't like the reservation anyways, you can go and deny it and that's fine. But you can't pre-approve. You need to wait for us to tell you it's okay to be accepted. And then you can go in and accept it.
Okay, I did get the email that the screening.
Yeah, just use those as your trigger, and because we'll notify you ahead of time that hey, there's a request to book, and then we'll tell you again. Actually, you can action it now because sometimes that can be a pretty asynchronous process where the guest might take a few hours to get back to the guest verification, and only at that point do you have all the information we want you to have as a host to make an informed decision on that reservation.
Okay, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I just wanted to know for sure how it worked.
Yep. No. You pointed out a few pieces of friction that we're definitely going to be working on improving going forward.
But I really enjoy the direct booking. I mean, we haven't had a ton of them, but this woman originally stayed on her property from VRBO, and then she booked direct after she got an email that we had a direct booking, and now she's booking direct for a sec. So she's a third timer, at the property. So
cool,
definitely working out.
Fantastic.
All right,
Thank you so much for the feedback, Andrew. Yep.
I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Andrew. Great. So now next up we have Anna, welcoming you on stage to ask your question. Anna, hello.
Hello, Anna.
Hi, guys. I love these town halls, and thanks for all your hard work. Now, my first question is about bookkeeping and accounting. So there are two options, two apps that are integrations from Hospitable right now, the clearing and VR platform. I'm wondering, I've been doing some research online for other accounting options and bookkeeping options other than just the basic Excel spreadsheet that I'm using right now. And there are some others available. Wondering if you have any others in plan for integration, and if not, do you know of any others that do integrate with Hospitable from their end?
So I think Emily may have a greater view as to the pipeline, but I can confidently say that there is no other vendor that we have in the pipeline about accounting, integrations, owner statements. Do we, Emily? I think no. That's basically.
We do have someone about to launch owner statements pretty soon. They're called. One second, let me look.
We're gonna do the marketing later. Right now, they're getting onboarded. What we know now, that's actually something quite new, is that thanks to the work on the platform team, we're actually now onboarding vendors, making sure that they have the resource and all the things that they need, and so that we can then market them directly on our application, on our app store, in the product. So that's why Emily can actually look into the list of vendors we're integrating with, which has never been the case for years. So what is that third vendor?
Yeah, they're called Owner Center. So that's owner statement specific tool. And yeah, just for a little bit under hood of I cannot talk, a little bit of behind the scenes peek. We've also been doing a lot of work to make sure that we're actually giving these accounting and bookkeeping platforms like a lot of information. Our API right now has like kind of the most common stuff people need, but we're going to be giving them like the full breakdown, and everybody's going to have access to the same stuff. So it's kind of up to them to do with it what they will. But in the next week or so, we're going to be starting to share like every single fee, every single line item of a discount with these vendors so that they can do some really cool stuff with their integrations if they want to.
And in particular with Airbnb, it would also be able to reconcile directly with payments, so bank transfers to your bank account or your payout methods, and also recognize all disputes and resolutions with your guests that are aware, obviously, to get an upsell or simply damages being paid back. So there is really a full feature integration. We're actually talking with one of the vendors you've been mentioning before, VR platform, to actually bring owner statements directly within Hospitable. So you would have obviously complete freedom to go be with VR platform directly, and probably get access to a wide range of features and personalization. We also are thinking about bringing owner statements and accounting integration directly within Hospitable, powered by VR platform at this point in time. There really was a fantastic product with VR platform. Clearing too, okay, there's not really me picking sites, but they want to allow property management software like us to be offering owner statements with the best of breed product, best in class product for owner statements. So we actually have a call with the CEO tomorrow to keep talking about basically what is entailed. I've hinted at this, I think a few weeks ago, about accounting integration. So it seems like obviously QuickBooks Online is the winner in our cohort of in our list of customers that will be interested by that feature. And then we are looking into basically how easy it can be to roll it out as a first version. Don't expect very sophisticated designs and feature set, but just a foundation to get the owner statements that are reliable out of the door. So we're hoping to have that, in coming weeks, in coming months. So you stay in the loop with those channels where we'll be announcing and asking questions from customers directly about that feature.
Wonderful, thank you. And I do have one other quick question, if possible. So I did have my first listing that I connected on Hospitable, initially on Airbnb only, and currently also on Airbnb only. I had smart pricing enabled, and so the nightly rates did not really sync up appropriately. Then I found out that I have to get rid of smart pricing, which I did, but somehow I must have had a rate of $99 initially that got populated into Hospitable. And now I do have a different rate, but when I look down the road a few months ahead, it doesn't look like Hospitable is pushing the price updates. And I still have, like, for, let's say, September, October, I still have that $99 rate. And I'm not really sure if I need to completely disconnect that listing and reconnect to properly sync up the rates, or how can I fix this issue?
And where is that 99 coming from? Is it the base fee, the base rate from your Airbnb
It
listing?
was, yeah, I think originally that was a base rate when I had the smart pricing enabled.
Okay. So that, yeah, so that probably was the base rate. Okay. And are you using any dynamic pricing software?
No, I'm not.
So I think in that case,
Basically,
it's actually completely legit. It's so we don't, just to be clear, we are not pushing prices to Airbnb. In that case, we actually retrieve it from Airbnb. I think you will see the 99 coming from Airbnb, and then we sync it up. And that's because that is your base price. So basically, until you manually change that rate, or for any kind of rules that you have directly on Airbnb, the base rate is going to be $99 for every new night that is open for booking.
yeah, but I have changed that. It's not 99 anymore. So I've changed that, and that pricing is different now. It's just I can't not even find that 99 anymore. For current prices, it's retrieving correctly the current prices, but that 99 down the road is still there. I've gone manually and changed a few months ahead the prices in Airbnb, and whatever I change in Airbnb takes effect. But like at the end of the year, do you recommend me to go and change it, like, for the next year or something manually? I don't know how to really
I think I think I'm sorry to be asking you this, Anna, but I would ask that if you have not done so already, that you get in the loop of our support team, so that they get a chance to investigate a bit what's happening on your Airbnb account and on that listing in particular, so that they can direct you on what there is to change. My hint is that it's probably something on Airbnb. But again, we shouldn't be repushing something back to the counter. So I think there's a tip that we'll be able to give you on that particular issue directly. So you can start a conversation with a live chat, or simply send an email to support@hospitable.com, and yeah, we'll be following up with you to basically understand what the problem is like.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't want to take too much time, but thanks.
All I can tell
Appreciate
you
your
is that it's not a global known issue
Yeah.
that I hear about. I think it's probably something rather specific on the configuration.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
very
Anna,
much.
for joining us. Great. And so next up, we have Glenn joining us. Hello, Glenn.
Hello, Glenn.
Hello, thanks for letting me have a call. Question is sort of simple. It goes along the lines of previous caller of not having to look back and forth between Hospitable and Airbnb. And one of the great features I always thought was on here was when you get an inquiry from Airbnb onto Hospitable, you had the entire profile pushed over, so I could see star ratings and reviews and the like. And that doesn't seem to be there anymore. And was wondering if that's something I've turned off, or if it's just maybe gone away from the API.
What can I say about that feature? It's not gone. It depends on the guest. And if I may be honest, it depends on whether a guest has been booking a stay with another Hospitable host in the past. So we show you basically the max details that we can retrieve. And that basically, affects what is displayed. So depending on whether you have, for example, a new guest that has never interacted with another one of our customers before, then you will be able to, it will be a rather blank profile, then I guess secures a reservation, then we're able to get more, and then we're basically able to share that later to the next host if they're booking through with one of our Hospitable customers. So that's what's happening. It's a feature. It's not gone. It just depends really very much on the guests, more so than anything about your settings.
Okay, so no real way to fix that at this point. Just when it's there, and celebrate it.
Yeah, because we only get access to more data once there is an accepted reservation for a given Airbnb account. We can't retrieve that data otherwise.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
But that's clear.
Thank you very much. Fine. So at the moment, we don't have any more hands raised. So if you're dying to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand now. You will be able to get pulled on stage. Otherwise, Andrew, I don't know if you pulled out anything that you wanted to cover off from the Q&A.
I've got one that we could maybe talk about. I'm not exactly sure how I would answer it. So Sean asks, Airbnb is my current lead listing for 2 properties. I'm considering making Booking.com or even Hospitable as my primary and sync to all the OTAs. Can you please go over a process of pros and cons? I don't think we can make a Hospitable listing the lead listing, right? Okay.
No.
So difference between
Not yet.
Airbnb or Booking.com as a lead listing. Yeah, not yet.
Don't think
I don't
about
think
it.
there's-
You have a very busy roadmap. It will be very complicated. That's the moment when basically we don't require any OTA connection to get onboarded,
Yeah.
and you need to have then
Which is
all the manual work to set up
Yeah.
a property within Hospitable, which hopefully we can do well, but
which is on the roadmap, yeah.
which is
So
on the roadmap.
Vrbo Official, Pagoda, those are all going to require us to do that. So we are going to be doing a lot more features that look more and more like a PMS. Yeah, as far as the specific question, difference in lead listing, I don't think there is lead listing a difference. Maybe Emily.
I think it's really preference, because the idea is that you do things on that channel and we're going to pull it in and push it to the other channels. So like I'm a host too. I have one property and I just got used to using the Airbnb app. And so I wanted to continue doing that. So like, in my opinion, I would make Airbnb the lead listing because that's just the easiest app for me to use if I need to do anything that isn't supported through Hospitable yet. But it's not really like a better or worse. It's kind of just preference. At least that's kind of my take on it.
If you're used to Airbnb, I would say stick with Airbnb. On the lead listing part, it's basically which is the main listing, the main OTA for that particular property setup. I would particularly recommend, especially when dealing with Booking.com, just wait, make sure you know what you're doing on Booking.com and then make those decisions. Because I don't want to have something, I wouldn't recommend having something just for the shiny new thing and then realizing it can break. Normally that doesn't, but it's more about your experience really than anything else. If you choose the Booking.com as a lead listing, is going to be the one that defines the pricing. And so you're going to see the listing that is being sent over to Booking from by Hospitable on your calendar. The rates paid by your guests may not change, but the way it's displayed on calendar definitely will. I don't think there is actually any other impacts yet in terms of content, pictures, or guest experience at all. It's just really managing the calendar at this point. So yeah, I think that's one is answered.
So we did have one more hand raised, which we can just get to for the end. Memodal. I think that's the correct pronunciation.
Hello,
Welcome you
Memodal.
on stage.
Hi,
How can I help you?
hello everyone. So a quick question here. So I was recently going through our inboxes. So we got an inquiry and from a guest, but I noticed that the phone number of the guest was showing up on the inbox. So my question is like, does Hospitable shows up phone numbers like for inquiries? Because in the Airbnb, the number is not showing up. I guess Hospitable picked up it from some other Hospitable host. Is that is that what happens?
That's the same answer that I have from the previous person that asked about the inbox and the guest details, because that's actually what's happening behind the scenes. So that's why you can see variable levels of information depending on the guest.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Um,
Thank you very much. Okay, so you want to add something else?
yeah, there is a question on Q&A that I think I can answer right now because it's about owner statements, so that's something I'm looking into particularly. So is there a way to elect the percentage we charge of the earnings, or is that something we have to manually calculate each month? Also, are the reports accessible to Excel? So that's something that actually is being discussed right now with the partner we'll be working for this particular feature for owner statements. So the idea is, yes, we really decided to pick a partner that was best in class for owner statements, so that you can have a great level of customization for your owner statement on a per property, on a per customer level, depending which fees go towards you, which expenses are reinvoiced back to the client. So there is really a little bit of complexity right there, and we are basically discovering that as we're going. The idea is, though, we are building something on top of their existing workflows and product. And our value is just there to make sure that it's as automated and as convenient as possible to actually work with, I would say, starting property managers that basically are just discovering our owner statements in particular. So it's something that I can't answer in a firm way. I know that there will be a lot of work on calculation of the formula for commissions. As for the reports exportable to Excel, I think that's really part of the minimum envelope for that particular work. And Anissa is asking correctly now that it's actually more about the report that we're currently able to generate. So I think I'll answer that. It's currently not something that's available. You can calculate the commission at this point in time. That will be part of the owner statements volume. So you're gonna have to wait a little bit to get that working. Okay.
And then finally, Andrew.
Yep. Yeah, I had one from Melissa asking if onboarding support is available for new direct customers. Yes, as resources allow. So I talked about scaling up that team. Right now we're at 3 with 2 on deck going through their onboarding, so they're not quite operational yet. But yeah, Melissa, you're welcome to go into the support, open up the support chat and ask for assistance with onboarding, and they can reach out to schedule with you. Eileen is on this call right now. She's one of the people on the direct support team, and yeah, her colleagues as possible will schedule a call with you, walk you through what you need to do to get set up and go live. And it only takes a few minutes, which is great to go live and start taking direct bookings.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then I'm actually just going to squeeze in one last audience question from Vincent. I'm going to invite you on stage just before we wrap up, Vincent. Hello.
Hello, Vincent.
Hey guys. Hey, I'll make this one quick. So say you have multiple platforms that you've got a listing on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only way that it works in Hospitable now is if I've got a listing made on Airbnb, but not on Vrbo. I have to go to Vrbo and create that same listing and then merge them in Hospitable. Am I right on that?
For now, yes. So you have to first create the listings on that other channel. In no channels, we're currently pushing the creation of listings directly within Hospitable. That's something I think, Andrew, we have on the roadmap for booking. And that's something that we'll be able to, probably not exactly the short-term roadmap. That's basically all sorted for now. And I think that's something that will be facilitated once we have that Vrbo offshore integration we've been talking about earlier. So
Okay. Yeah, that I was just gonna ask, like, is that on your radar to start the creation of the listing process in Hospitable and then distribute to as many, platforms that you're integrating?
Yep.
If that's part of your guys' plan or what.
Yeah, it's going to take us a little while, but yeah, it's committed roadmap right now because of the Agoda and Vrbo official integrations that we're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. That sounds like a massive project. So just putting it out there. Thanks.
Great.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Vincent.
much.
Awesome. And I think that's all we have time for today. A few of us have a conference to get back to.
Yeah. So what is it like in Nashville? It seems like it's a fantastic conference. I really make me feel the pain of not being there. Because
It's loud.
I mean, it's intense. Yeah.
It's loud.
Yeah.
It's
The
intense.
after parties are very loud because there's music everywhere. So it's really hard to talk to people there. But at the booth, great conversations. Like I said before, like honestly, this is really energy giving for us to spend time face to face. And
Yeah.
really, we get a lot of love from our customers. So thank you for that. And a lot of great feedback, like I said. So I don't know, I'm loving it. It's been a great trip.
Okay. Is there any swag that you're giving away on your booth?
We're out of socks.
You're out
Yeah.
of socks, right?
They went day one. And yeah, we
Yeah.
have some awesome bottle opener keychains as well. I wish I had one on me to share everyone. We'll have to make sure we share some pictures on social media so people can check that out.
There were lots of conversation about that goddamn bottle opener. Like they need to do like 3 rounds of CEO sign off for some reason. So hope they're worth it. I won't even be able to have one now. But yeah, if you're around Nashville, show up at our booth. It would be fantastic to get to see you. You have those lovely individuals, and you can share your feedback and have your own little town hall in person. That's really excellent. Thank you, everyone. Fantastic attendance. Thank you for all your questions. And yes, see you in 2 weeks with plenty of more updates. And hopefully, plenty of new things to ship. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.